Welcome back. Deepinder Goyal has been headlining since a long time, sometimes for being a judge on Shark Tank, sometimes for opening up about his personal battle with bullying, and sometimes about his aerospace startup. But the reasons he's become the talk of the town now is the discourse on gig economy in India. Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Deep Dive, and I'm Vaishali Kohli. Today we're discussing how Deepinder Goyal, the founder of Eternal Limited that owns Zomato and Blinkit, defended the gig economy and is the wake of protests and strike by gig workers on Christmas and New Year. A nationwide strike was called by gig and platform worker unions, accusing app-based companies of systematic exclusion from core labor entitlements and demanding immediate government intervention to stop what they describe as widespread exploitation across food delivery and taxi services. But despite that, Deepinder Goyal on January 1st seemed unfazed. He declared that Zomato and Blinkit delivered at a record pace on New Year's Eve. He said that more than 4.5 lakh delivery partners delivered more than 75 lakh orders to over 63 lakh customers. He added, and I quote, "If a system were fundamentally unfair, it would not consistently attract and retain so many people who choose to work within it. Please don't get swept by narratives pushed by vested interests. The gig economy is one of India's largest organized job creation engines, and its real impact will compound over time. When delivery partners, children supported by stable incomes and education, enter the workforce and help transform our country at scale." He faced backlash on the internet for denying that gig economy is unfair. Now, he has added to his defense by elaborating on the working models of Blinkit and Zomato. He claims he came to his socials explaining the Zomato model. Let's have a look, and he's divided his defense in 6 points. Point 1, let's call it the earning model of gig workers in Zomato. He started with earnings per hour, recording a year-on increase. The EPH grew from rupees 92 to rupees 102. Let's look at his calculation. Most delivery partners work for a few hours and only a few days in a month. But if someone were to work for 10 hours a day for 26 days in a month, this translates to around 26,500 per month in gross earnings. After accounting for fuel and maintenance, is recorded at approximately 20%. Then the net earnings for the partner is around 21,000 a month. He added 2 lines in this earning model. First, earnings per hour are calculated on total hours logged in, where earnings per hour during the busy hour will be higher. Second, delivery partners earn 100% of tips given by customers. The second point in his defense is how delivery partners on his platforms are not overworked. In 2025, the average delivery partner on Zomato worked 38 days in the year and 7 hours per working day. Only 2.3% of partners worked more than 250 days in a year. They determine when to log in and log out and their area of work in a specific city. Moreover, once a partner opts into a gig, the only expectation is availability for the duration of that gig. Beyond this, there are no participation requirements. He added that all these reasons constitute why guaranteed salaries for gig roles doesn't align with what the model is built for. The third point defends how 10-minute deliveries don't lead to pressuring environments. Delivery partners do not see any 10-minute timer on their app, so there is no countdown driving them to speed. Most fast deliveries, it says, happens because dark stores are located very close to customers, not because riders drive faster. The fourth defense rests on how delivery partners do get welfare benefits and long-term support. According to him, Zomato and Blinkit spent over 100 crores on insurance coverage for delivery partners in 2025. The fifth defense is on ancillary support provided apart from the insurance. He talked about period rest days, support in filing tax returns, national pension scheme and SOS support. Now he's further clarified his stance on the Raj Shamani podcast. According to Goyal, many delivery partners do not view the role as a long-term career. Zomato terminates close to 5,000 gig workers each month. In addition to these exits, a much larger number of delivery partners leave the platform on their own. He said nearly 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh gig workers chose to exit every month, even as a similar number are onboarded during the same period. This constant cycle of exits and additions reflects the fluid nature of gig work. Deepinder Goyal's defense of the gig economy on these 6 points rests on showing that the platform work is flexible, voluntary, and mainly used as supplementary income rather than full-time employment. His position relies on data showing limited working hours and manageable delivery speeds. However, his defense sits within a larger debate about worker welfare and job security in the platform economy, which continues to remain unresolved. I have Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya, President, CDEPR, and Mithali Nikore, economist. They're both joining me. Now, I want to go across to Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya. You know, Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya, there was this very interesting lunch that Raghav Chadha had with a delivery partner, which I saw. And the delivery partner raised a number of pertinent points on how much these delivery partners are made to suffer. So in this scenario, do you agree with what Deepinder Goyal is saying?
Let me put it in context. I was once having a conversation with a West Bengal politician about 15, 16 years back. And his concern was that, my boys and girls are being exploited in the BPOs and the KPOs and so on. They work throughout the night. The point is that what is the alternative that these boys and girls are getting? And it's not just that that they are being made to work in a certain manner. It is what are the other alternative opportunities available? If there is free will, then why would somebody be working for lower wages? Now, some of the regulatory interventions which are required when the market forces break down is where the lower wages, the minimum wages are put in, and regulations which lead to benefits for the gig workers are put in, which ensures that all the companies follow that. But beyond that, it's ultra wise for a company to not execute what it's supposed to execute. If you look at the magnitude of the challenge that companies like Zomato are facing, 1.2 to 1.5 lakh gig workers are moving in and moving out every month. They're probably managing millions of gig workers. And therefore, in some way, they're providing millions of hours of work to workers. If we put more constraints on this ecosystem, then it is possible that none of this will ever work. So we have actually reached a stage where there are a lot of gainful employment is happening. There may be poor quality, and if it's poor quality, then it's up to the rest of the society to make sure that there are better quality jobs available. But to stop some kind of a employment from happening is probably not a very wise thing to do. So in a way, I kind of agree with what Deepinder Goyal is saying. They already have a lot of challenges. They have provided jobs. And if there is any regulatory mandate that they need to follow, then they must follow that. And if they're not, then they should be hanged for it. And if there are more regulations needed, because as we all know, market forces don't always solve the problem, and therefore regulations are needed to make sure that that the breakage that's happening is taken care of through the regulation. Then those regulations needs to be introduced, and thankfully the government is introducing those regulations, which make sure that gig workers get a social security support, they get the insurance that is needed, and in fact Zomato itself has been on its own providing the insurance. So I believe that we need to give the breathing space to companies to grow and not judge them too harshly.
All right. Mithali Nikore, I'm coming to you. You're, of course, an economist. Mithali, there were, when you look at the scenario really, I mean, you also have to consider how, these delivery partners, they don't make so much money. And there are many things that were pointed out during a particular interview that I had mentioned earlier. These men are not permanent employees. They don't get benefits like provident funds, etc. And how do you really feel about the whole scenario?
So I want to start with saying that, I loved how you said these men are not permanent employees, because we know that most of the employees at the moment, or rather they're not even employees, they are platform partners. and most of them are male. But I've actually been doing a lot of work at Nicole Associates, our think tank, to interact with the women who are actually delivery partners, who are actually, warehouse associates, who are actually working in dark stores, who are actually working across the chain on the platform economy across several companies, who are also drivers in ride hailing apps. So this entire economy is thriving, and a lot of women also want to come and become part of it, and they want to come and work here. So I think it also represents a, and at the end of the day, this entire sector represents opportunities for young people who are, say, probably migrant workers coming into a city to earn something for their families. It gives them an opportunity in a very job scarce economy that we are sitting in today. At the end of the day, India is a labor surplus country. When we look at the macro picture, India is a labor surplus country. We have a lot of people who are looking for jobs, not getting jobs, and we don't have a state sponsored social security. It's not like the government of India, of course, provides at least in kind rations now to each and every citizen below a certain income bracket. But at one point, we didn't even have that. So in the kind of economy that we are in, the kind of jobs that are being created by these platforms, and I don't want to talk about just Deepinder Goyal. There are many, many platforms, that are coming up. There's Swiggy, there's Porter, there's Uber. So all the platforms are probably dealing with their partners in the same way. So that shows us that the problem is not limited to one company. When you talk to any of these delivery partners, especially the women, they will tell you what is their biggest problem. There's nowhere to go to the washroom. There's nowhere to take a stop, a rest stop in the middle of a hot day and just catch your breath. There is nowhere where somebody will offer you a glass of water. So these kind of working conditions, they are not coming up just because of the companies, because a lot of these partners work with multiple companies. So which company would then be responsible for providing them that humanitarian service? Chennai has shown us the way. In Chennai, you actually have rest areas that have been set up by the municipal corporation across the city, where gig workers of any kind, of any company, can come and they can take rest. Even the government, drivers of the state-sponsored app, taxi app, can come and they can take rest. So at the end of the day, this is a humanitarian and an infrastructure gesture which the city authorities are taking to enhance the platform economy in the city. We need more cities, more states, and the national framework to, first of all, have infrastructure that enables these workers to do their job. And the second thing I want to say, and especially to the Aam Aadmi Party, is that they are in power in Punjab. Very easily, they can come in and they can put in a regulation that this is the minimum wage that you have to pay per kilometer to a person who is, as per the new labor codes, established as a gig worker, registered as a gig worker. You have to do this. Labor is a concurrent subject. States can also come in with that regulation. Nothing is stopping them from doing this. Similarly, other states can also take it up, and the central government can also issue guidelines. Of course, if the center is not issuing it, states are more than, it's open for any of the states. Government cannot give up its role in this debate, and a lot of this debate is often framed as workers versus companies. But companies are operating in a competitive environment in the economy. If one company says, no, I will pay 50 rupees per
Mithali,
kilometer,
I'll
I
have
will
to
not pay
interrupt
less
you
than
because we're
this.
short of time, but you have raised very
Yeah.
pertinent points. Thank you to both our guests for joining us on the broadcast. And with that, we're slipping into a short commercial break.